Welcome to Chapter 6 of my Happiness Project. With this chapter, I'm talking about the art of doing nothing. This idea of doing nothing came from one of those days that I've experienced every month where I'm in pain, I have to stay in bed, unable to do anything and feeling guilty about it. But this month, instead of feeling guilty about it, I learned to appreciate it. I saw this from a Netflix documentary.
I think distraction is a way of avoiding existential anxiety. Kierkegaard said that anxiety is the dizziness of freedom. And I think humans are fundamentally pretty ambivalent about being free. On the one hand, we say, I want to be free, but when we're free, it feels metaphorically like we don't have gravity. And as a result, a lot of people build these balls and chains into their lives so that they don't experience this freedom.
Success. Focusing is always a trade-off. You get the power to accomplish something in exchange for blindness to the wider world.
You actually need to have unfocused times as well, so that you can begin to connect with more subtle elements of who you are.
I was mind blown by this discovery, and thinking about it, my culture has been always teaching me that you have to work hard, you have to work endlessly, overworking in order to find your place, knowing who you are, improving yourself, being the best. But actually, what helps you to be the best is creating that space to face yourself, knowing what you want, and doing nothing brings you that. In this conversation with my therapist, she was talking about how she wanted to go to courses, do a lot of things, and, keep on so-called quotation, improving yourself. But in the end, she tired herself out and actually makes her feeling very unhappy. But what she finds happiness is, instead of trying to take on all these courses and responsibilities and roles that seems to be amazing, making her more successful, she decides to quit some of them and do nothing. And through that, she find her peace, and find her happiness. This inspired me a lot, which I decided to do so because I am someone, since I was very young, that I am very ambitious. I like to do a lot of projects. I like to have a lot of hobbies, and just stuff my time with a lot of things in the name of being bored and I don't want to do nothing because I associate doing nothing with being useless. But instead, now that I think of it, doing nothing is such an important lesson for us to learn so that we can listen to ourselves, hear what we truly want, and really give us the time to breathe so we can start all over again and have more motivation to move on.
Keep saying yes to things automatically without deliberately thinking about it, then I won't have the time to do my big things.
Yeah.
I'll be spending those, I'll be almost like fobbing myself off. I'll be just sort of, do this, it's enjoyable, do that, it's enjoyable. But what about the difficult things, but my dream things that are waiting for my attention, that needs to be broken down into little goals and little everyday practices.
As someone who likes to actively improve for myself, recently I learned to follow my heart and not my head, and give time to listen to my heart and stop ignoring it, so that I could feel enough about myself, accepting myself and not trying to run away from who I am by doing things constantly, taking courses, doing so-called quotation better, but truly feeling that I am good enough. And as a former people pleaser, the art of doing nothing helps me to learn to stop minding other businesses and stop actively giving energy to others. It's to simply sit back, receive, and let things develop, and trust that the other person has their own responsibility and ability to fix their own problems without me getting involved. Learning not to get into others' business, even if I have the solutions, even if I see the potential, even if I see how it can work better, I've learned to step back and do nothing, and simply trust that the other person can deal with their own problems and issues and can take responsibility of it. Feeling and doing that makes me feel much better without having satisfying my savior complex. And as a former control freak, the art of doing nothing let me learn that letting go of knowing the how, when, and why and what is very important. The reason why I wanted to know the how, when, and why and what why things are happening is because I feel powerless. But when I let go of all these need to know how, when, and why and what, I actually feel much more powerful because I can just simply trust that things will develop in my highest favor and do nothing and let the universe fulfill my wishes for me and lead me to all my wishes of being fulfilled or simply fulfilling for me without me doing anything, without knowing the what, without controlling the how, when, and why. I realize it is a power act of showing my trust to the universe, to myself, to my capability of getting what I deserve. And knowing that having this power makes me feel so good. And I find it as one of my sources of happiness right now, to feel powerful. And all I can see is all these miracles, everything I wanted happening for me without me working so hard for it. All this time I've been overworking, doing so much, putting in so much effort, and things just don't go the way I wanted it to happen. While right now when I let go, I receive so much blessings, I receive so much miracles, I receive so much happiness that I've never received so smoothly. And I told myself, yeah, that is one of the things I have to learn, to master the art of doing nothing. So everything, every good thing that I desire, or even better things, will come in the way in a more unexpected way, that I would truly appreciate life in its raw but most beautiful form. And that's why I say learning the art of nothing is one of my lessons of achieving this goal of being happy. I look forward to my next chapter of my happiness project.